On the morning of October 20, 2025, a significant portion of the internet seemed to simply vanish for millions of users. Favorite shopping websites displayed error messages. Streaming services refused to load. Even smart home devices, from doorbells to light bulbs, fell silent and unresponsive. This was a cascading failure from one of the internet's most critical pillars, Amazon. A stark reminder of how interconnected our digital lives have become, and how vulnerable they are to a single point of failure. The core problem wasn't retail Amazon, but Amazon Web Services, AWS. AWS quietly powers countless websites, apps, and digital services worldwide. Companies rent servers, storage, and computing power from AWS, so they can operate without building costly infrastructure. When a key part of AWS fails, a domino effect hits everything depending on it. The outage began without warning early in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, during a peak period for North America and Europe. First reports came from users on social media. Popular gaming platforms were inaccessible. Media websites were inaccessible. Within minutes, similar complaints confirmed a widespread issue. A simple timeline shows how quickly it escalated. 8:05 a.m. Initial error reports surfaced. 8:30 a.m. Outage reports spiked across hundreds of services. Reports pointed to specific AWS regions. Amazon's engineers were alerted to cascading failures. 9 a.m. First public acknowledgement on the AWS status page. For hours, updates were sparse and brief. Businesses were left in the dark, forced to wait. 11:45 a.m. Services began a slow, staggered return. Traffic was rerouted and faulty components isolated. Full restoration took several more hours. Technical causes often boil down to a few culprits. Software deployment gone wrong, hardware failure in critical networking equipment, misconfiguration, human error at scale. The impact of the Amazon outage was felt far and wide, touching nearly every corner of modern life. For the average person, the effects were immediate and frustrating. Your smart speaker couldn't play the news, or your favorite playlist. Lunch orders failed to process, forcing last-minute alternatives. Even commute planning was affected. Some ride-sharing apps slowed or failed, leaving users confused. The financial impact hit small and mid-sized businesses hardest. Sales dropped to zero during key periods. Freelancers missed opportunities without cloud access. Many lacked resources for robust backups, making them entirely dependent on provider reliability. Downtime meant direct revenue loss and strained customer relationships. Larger corporations weren't immune. Streaming, news, even some finance stumbled. Contingencies exist, but shifting traffic mid-crisis is risky. Support lines flooded. Social teams worked overtime. Less obvious sectors slowed. Research and healthcare saw delays. When the foundation shakes, everyone feels the tremors. Section 4. Crisis to Clarity. Official responses and practical advice. Amazon's response was methodical and cautious. The AWS status dashboard was the primary channel. Periodic technical updates informed clients. Engineers identified the root cause and executed recovery. Public channels offered broader assurances to prevent panic. Regulators watched closely, including the Federal Trade Commission and international counterparts. Expect calls for transparency and resilience standards. Likely outcome, a detailed public post-mortem. For everyday users, practice patience and digital hygiene. Avoid repeatedly hitting a broken service. It adds strain. Check official status pages and verified accounts. Don't trust rumors. Remember offline alternatives. Keep non-digital backups for essentials. Small businesses. Treat this as a call to action. Build a business continuity plan. Diversify across providers. Separate hosting from payments. Maintain offline backups. Customer lists, financials, key docs. Section 5. Lessons from the silence. Building a more resilient digital future. The October outage was more than a technical glitch. It revealed the architecture of our modern world. The convenience and power of the cloud come with a hidden cost: centralized risk. We rely heavily on a handful of technology giants. When one pillar falters, the economic silence is deafening. Our daily activity depends on uninterrupted service. Is this level of centralization sustainable? Or do we need a more distributed, resilient internet? Individuals should keep essentials accessible offline. Businesses must shift from passive reliance to active preparation. Know alternatives and keep critical info local. Treat cloud dependency as strategic risk. Invest in redundancy and regularly test failovers. Choose providers for resilience and transparency, not just cost. Industry and regulators must push for greater transparency and stronger fail-safes. Expect movement toward uptime and recovery standards for critical services. Just as the power grid has reliability standards, we need frameworks for digital infrastructure. This global fire drill exposed vulnerabilities so we can strengthen systems.